Here we are, guys. We are leaving HQ and heading down to Little River, South Carolina to visit some family. We don't have much that we're taking with us, just one bag. We kind of pack light and some giant flip-flops. Those are mine, by the way. As you can see, we're starting with a full charge here, about 82 degrees outside. All right, we're starting out. First stop is Spartanburg, South Carolina, about 3 hours away. The navigation projected us with having around a 34% battery charge when we arrived there. We're going to find out if that's actually true. Now, I'm going to drive this car just like I would our previous vehicle, the Subaru.
Onto Poor Valley Road.
Can you not hear that we're filming? Jeez. So I'm going to run the AC. I'm not going to be worried about, staying under a certain miles per hour in accordance with the range saving that the navigation will sometimes tell you. I just want to put it to the test and see if it actually delivers on what it's promising. So it says we can drive for like 3.5 hours with no need to stop and recharge.
Drive northwest on Poor Valley
Really?
Road for
Come on.
1.7.
All right, so we're only about 30 minutes into the trip, and already the rate of battery that we'll have on arrival, the estimated rate has gone up to 41% from 37. Now, from what I understand, this does make real-time adjustments based on elevation and temperature. So that's pretty cool. We'll see if that holds true when we get to Spartanburg here. Check back a little bit later.
Stroll downtown this evening when I heard music echo through the night. The same old songs that I heard the night before. So I started running so I wouldn't be too late.
So a little bit of an update. We are in traffic in Asheville. We've lived here for what, like
9 years?
8 years, 9 years, somewhere like that. Every single time we come through Asheville, I don't care if it's like 2 o'clock in the morning, traffic. So what is everybody coming to Asheville for? Tell me why in the comments down below. Here we are in Spartanburg, our first supercharging stop. Never supercharged before, first time for everything. They tell me it's really easy, so you guys are going to come along for the ride. Here we go. And blue light, come on, green light. There we go, we're charging. Let's see what we got. Looks like I'm gonna go ahead and set the charging limit to 80%. There we go. And looks like we're charging right there. You can see it's 36 kilowatts an hour, and it's ringing the bell right now. You can see how much money we're spending. So, all right, we're gonna go ahead and let this charge and go grab a bite to eat. We'll catch back up with you a little bit later. So we just got back from dinner, and our charging session was a total of $15.12. We went from 39%, which was 2% over what it estimated that we'd arrive on, and we went all the way up to 91%. Our next stop is 2.5 hours away, 174 miles. It says we're going to arrive with 23% left. We'll see if that holds true, because we don't have to deal with elevation as much. We're actually going to be going downhill. So I'm hoping to do a little bit better on that. So we're going to go grab some coffees so we can stay awake on this trip, and we'll see you guys soon. All right, guys, we made it to Florence, South Carolina. We're at a Buc-ee's. Really loud in there, but we've only got about 6 minutes left on our charge. Total charge was like 25 minutes to make it to the last leg of our journey, and we'll be back with an update on how much this one cost. So we made it back from our first ever road trip in GWatts, our 2023 Model Y long range, and I want to share with you some of the lessons we learned on this road trip to help you if you decide to go fully electric and maybe you like to take road trips. Number one is range and state of charge and how that's impacted by elevation and speed. I believed that elevation was going to wear the battery down, so much so that the estimated arrival charge that Tesla gave us on the navigation was going to be incorrect. And when we left Boondock HQ, Tesla was giving us, I think, a 37% state of charge when we were going to arrive at our first charging station in Spartanburg, South Carolina. We actually arrived with 39%, and I'm going to explain why. Elevation for the Model Y long range actually helped extend the battery's range, which is not what I thought at first. I thought maybe going up the high mountain passes was going to wear down the battery to be able to keep up speed at higher elevations, but that's not the case because what really came into effect was the regenerative braking. And when I looked at the energy charts, I actually gained 2.2% back into the battery with state of charge because of the regenerative braking going on the downhill side of those high mountain passes. So elevation actually improved the range of the battery, not weakened the range of the battery. I noticed from when I left Boondock HQ to arriving at Spartanburg, South Carolina charging station, I lost about 60% of range. From Spartanburg, South Carolina to my next charging station, which was in Florence, South Carolina, I actually used 70% of battery to get there. Now this confused me because I thought elevation was going to have a bigger impact, but it didn't. The key impact on our state of charge was speed. The faster I went, the higher speed limit that I maintained, the more state of charge dropped. That is huge because you need to be able to plan accordingly for your long distance trips. If you are on a straight flat highway and you're cruising say 75 miles per hour, your state of charge is going to be diminished compared to, say, if you're going through mountain passes at maybe 65 miles per hour. Now, another thing we learned is that the navigation and supercharging network are extremely reliable. We made both of our charging stations that had all the chargers fully operational. We didn't run into issues with them being down or not operating correctly. We used the 250 kilowatt charging stations. I'll explain the difference in superchargers in another video that I'm going to do a little bit later on, but they are super fast, efficient, and Tesla makes it so easy just to back on in and plug right up. No need to whip out your credit card or anything like that. It was just super convenient and easy. Now, the most important part of the trip is cost. I look at the bottom line, and I think a lot of us out there are concerned about how much an EV will actually save us, which is one of the main reasons of switching to a fully electric vehicle. So what did traveling over 1,000 miles cost us in our 2023 Model Y long range? The total cost was $86.15. Now, I want to add a caveat to that because there are several factors that influence that cost. Firstly, it's how long you charge. Because this was our first time, I thought it was going to take a lot longer to charge our vehicle up to the necessary limit to get us to the next charging station. Most of the time, we were only having to charge to about 80%, and then we were going to be routed to the next charging station. At both of the stations, I charged up to 90%, 91%, because the first station we were actually still eating dinner at the time, and I didn't want to get dinged with idle fees. Again, more on that in another video when I talk about supercharging. So I bumped the charge limit up to 90%, costing myself extra money, but buying us a little extra time while we were eating. And then at the second station, I charged up a little bit more so that when I arrived at my destination, I'd have plenty of battery left to cruise around and do a few things, not having to hit a supercharger first thing in the morning when I woke up. But because I increased the state of charge more than necessary to get me to the next charge point, that cost me extra money, and I probably would have shaved off around $10 on my total cost had I just charged to the 80% and kept on rolling. When I compare the cost of 1,000 miles in fuel for our previously owned vehicle, the Subaru, we would have spent around $130 given current gas prices. So that's roughly a savings of $44, somewhere around that, which doesn't seem like much. That's with the current prices of gas in our region. As we go outside of our region, gas can increase and that number would go up. But for the supercharging stations, the cost per kilowatt hour stays relatively consistent and there's not a huge fluctuation like gas. We haven't seen an issue yet where there is a lower supply and an increased demand for electricity driving up the cost of supercharging. So it stays fairly consistent. So for me, saving that $44 is a huge win. The driving experience was fantastic. I didn't feel inconvenienced. I didn't have issues supercharging. All of the concerns and worries I had coming from an internal combustion engine going to fully electric on a road trip just disappeared because it was super seamless. I had a great time driving the vehicle, and I can't wait to do it again. And the last thing we learned is that Buc-ee's does indeed have nice restrooms, but every time I walk out of there, I always smell like onions. A little off-putting. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Check out this video right here for more Tesla information. I'll see you in the next one.